This
Hi,
meeting
my
is now being recorded.
Hi, my name is Maria Flores, and I'm presenting my DMP capstone proposal defense entitled "The Correlation the Probability of Passing the NCLEX RN examination for U.S. educated graduates taking the examination for the first time based upon utilization of Kaplan NCLEX RN prep resources." The project addresses the problem of declining NCLEX RN pass rates. All nursing graduates are required to pass the NCLEX RN examination to become licensed to practice in the U.S. The NCSBN, National Council of State Boards of Nursing, the organization who writes the examination, makes changes to the NCLEX every 3 years based on a practice survey sent to nurses and nurse educators from across the country. Often the changes include an increase in the passing standard of the exams because the rigor of registered nursing practice increases from year to year as technology advances and patient acuity increases. Research conducted by the NCSBN indicates that when the passing standard is increased, there is a decrease of 3 to 5% in the pass rate for first-time U.S. educated graduates, with a rebound to pre-revision rates within the next year. As you can see from the information here, almost 20% of nurses who graduated from nursing school in 2013 did not pass the exam. Other than for the student who has spent significant money on an education and cannot practice if he or she fails the exam, why is this a problem for anyone else? Well, the impact is really significant to all of us. Nursing schools are expected to maintain an adequate pass rate as mandated by state regulatory agencies to continue to operate. If programs do not meet state and national standards, they may face sanctions such as not being able to accept students into the program or forced closure. Further complicating the issue is the aging baby boomer population. Nursing experts such as Peter Bearhouse from Vanderbilt University has predicted a severe nursing shortage in the next few years. High NCLEX failure rates mean less nurses in the workforce. The following slides will demonstrate the decline in the NCLEX RN pass rate and lack of rebounding of the pass rate. 2012 is the year prior to the last increase in the passing standard. This shows a strong year with a 90.3% annual pass rate for first-time U.S. educated nursing graduates. This is a graphic representation of the NCLEX RN pass rates for 2013. The graph shows a continuous and drastic decline. The 2013 annual pass rate was 83%, resulting in over 26,000 U.S. educated graduates failing the NCLEX RN examination the first time. April 1st, 2013 is the date of the increase in the passing standard. The increase was from 0.16 logits to 0.00 logits, the greatest one-time increase ever implemented. A logit is simply a unit of measure for calibrating items and measuring persons. It basically measures the difficulty of an item. You can see here that the quarter 4 pass rate of 69% is the lowest ever reported for first-time NCLEX RN test takers. The pass rates did rebound for quarter 1 and quarter 2 of 2014, but declined once again in quarter 3 and quarter 4. This trend has never been seen before in a year that the passing standard was not increased. Also, the annual pass rate of 81.8% for 2014 is the lowest reported rate going back to 1983 when the NCLEX pass rates were first reported on the NCSBN website. So to recap, this slide depicts the overall downward trend in pass rates for the past 3 years. The U.S. educated first-time test taker pass rate declined from 90.3% before the increase in the passing standard to 81.8% the year after the increase. Next year, 2016, is the year the NCLEX examination will be revised again. There are questions and even fear among faculty about another possible increase and the possible consequence. In light of the continuous decline in the NCLEX pass rate, this study will evaluate whether or not Kaplan prep resources continue to be effective for NCLEX RN success. Many companies provide NCLEX preparation resources, and Kaplan is a major provider of these resources. A total of 155,098 nursing students completed the NCLEX RN examination in 2013. Over 110,000 nursing students used some piece of the NCLEX RN Kaplan test prep resources in 2013. This equates to a 71% market share. This project is significant because registered nurses, numbering over 4 million, make up the largest portion of healthcare providers in the United States. The need for registered nurses is therefore essential for the adequate delivery of healthcare for the country's population. The aging baby boomer generation to number 40 million will increase the demand for nurses even more. Add to this the passage of the Affordable Care Act, which mandates that all Americans have health insurance, and the need for more nurses becomes even greater. Nursing graduates must pass the NCLEX RN examination to practice, and the pass rates for this examination have been steadily declining. Most studies that address NCLEX preparation and NCLEX success focus on specific types of nursing programs or a specific group of students. Data gathered for this project will include students from different types of programs, diploma, associate, and baccalaureate, and will include students from various regions of the country. Results of the study can be used to identify resources that can be utilized with different student populations from different types of nursing programs to help guide NCLEX success. The project question is there a predictive value between the utilization of the Kaplan NCLEX RN prep resources and success on the NCLEX RN examination for U.S. educated graduates taking the examination for the first time? The CATS framework was first identified in 2008 and has since been utilized in several studies to guide test success. The framework consists of 3 components. All 3 components in equal parts are necessary for success. The components are a sound knowledge base, active anxiety control, and test-taking skills. This slide depicts the Kaplan resources that correlate to each component of the CATS framework. Kaplan does have resources that fit each component, but for purposes of this project, we will be examining use of the predictor exams, Q-Bank, and question trainers, which address anxiety control because they mimic the NCLEX RN testing experience. We will also be examining attendance of the NCLEX prep course, which addresses test-taking skills. The highlighted and underlined resources are the resources being examined in this study. On a side note here, I do want to mention that I have the privilege of working with the authors of the Kaplan program who have both stated that the CATS framework is what they had in mind when they created the Kaplan resources, even though the CATS framework had not been created at that point. But therefore, that is the reason that the resources fit perfectly into this framework. The literature review revealed many studies regarding NCLEX success. Studies demonstrated that a multitude of resources can be effective in preparation for NCLEX. Schroeder described curriculum evaluation as effective, specifically ensuring that classroom exams were valid and reliable and that national benchmark exams were used to identify curriculum gaps. March and Ambrose described a multifaceted approach that included study plans, individualized study support, including boosting self-confidence and improving critical thinking and test-taking abilities. Furman and Johnson described testing and test review as effective in promoting test success. Despite the many differences, commonalities were identified, and the commonalities include a sound knowledge base, active anxiety control, and learning and practicing test-taking strategies. As already mentioned, the CATS framework consists of all 3 of these components. Further exploration of the 3 components of the CATS framework from the literature review revealed that testing and review to identify areas of strengths and weaknesses is effective to gain a sound knowledge base. Kaplan's Q-Bank, question trainers, and readiness tests provide an opportunity for testing and review. Anxiety is identified as a reason for failure on the NCLEX examination. Therefore, anxiety control is necessary for success. One of the best practices to control anxiety includes mimicking the NCLEX testing experience by using computerized tests throughout the nursing curriculum. All of the predictor exams and resources provided by Kaplan mimic the NCLEX testing experience. For example, they are computerized, The screen shows a clock counting down the time allotted for the test. Students must answer the question to move forward, and students are unable to view previously answered questions. Finally, the last commonality, test-taking strategies. Carrick and Thomas and Baker do reinforce the need for test-taking strategies by identifying that students at risk for failure of the NCLEX examination lack proper test-taking skills, such as identifying keywords in the stem of the question or correctly identifying the topic of the question. End-of-program NCLEX preparation sessions have proven helpful for success. These sessions include testing and the opportunity to review questions and provide feedback. The Kaplan NCLEX prep course teaches testing strategies, including the Kaplan decision tree, and then reviews question after question with students, providing feedback regarding the proper or improper use of the learned testing strategies. This exam is a quantitative predictive design. The project variable that is being examined is NCLEX RN examination pass or fail status, and the applied variables are scores on the Kaplan diagnostic exam, question trainer, QBank, and readiness exam. The applied variables are placed in order of use in the nursing program on this slide. These resources are utilized at the end of a nursing program and post-graduation. To provide a brief explanation of the different resources, the diagnostic exam is a 180-question NCLEX predictor test that gives probability of passing NCLEX and is given prior to the use of the NCLEX prep resource. 65% correct on the diagnostic equates to a 94.8% probability of passing NCLEX. This exam identifies strengths and weaknesses to guide the creation of an individualized NCLEX study plan. The question trainers are tests that increase the number of questions and increase in level of difficulty. They begin with mostly knowledge and comprehension questions and move to all application and analysis questions. They also increase from 75 question tests to 265 question tests. Scores of 65% or better on question trainer 1 through 5 and 60% or better on question trainer 6 through 7 are indicative of readiness for NCLEX. Students take the lower-level content-related question trainers before the NCLEX prep course to help identify areas of strengths and weaknesses, and they take question trainer 6 and 7 after the prep course to help gauge readiness for NCLEX success. The QBank is a question bank of almost 1,100 or over 1,100 NCLEX-style questions for practice. A cumulative score of 60% or better is indicative of readiness for NCLEX. Students utilize the QBank throughout the NCLEX prep process for practice. And finally, the readiness exam is a second 180-question NCLEX predictor test given on the last day of the NCLEX prep course. The 61.7% correct equates to a 94.8% probability of passing the NCLEX. This test will identify strengths and weaknesses and hopefully show an improvement in scores after learning test-taking strategies. Retrospective analysis of data that has already been collected from Kaplan from April 2013 to December 2014 will be utilized for this study. Written permission has been obtained from Kaplan for the researcher to utilize the data. Information will be kept on a password-protected computer and transferred to a jump drive and deleted 5 years from the date of completion of the project. Due to the use of de-identified retrospectively gathered data that will require no direct contact with participants, this project will hopefully qualify as an exempt project for IRB. De-identified data will be sent to the researcher via a password-protected Excel spreadsheet. The spreadsheet will contain all the information needed for the study. Inclusion criteria have been created for the project that include completion of at least 90% of the QBank, completion of question trainer 6 and 7, completion of the diagnostic exam, readiness exam, reported NCLEX pass or fail status, and reported first-time test taker. Anyone who does not meet these criteria will be excluded from the study. In regards to data analysis, descriptive statistics will be used to describe the characteristics of the population. Retrospective data is being utilized, therefore which descriptive statistics are available is not exact. At minimum, the type of RN program and region of the country, specifically state, will be available. Data will be analyzed using SPSS. The project variable being examined is NCLEX RN examination pass or fail status. Logistic regression will be completed for the set of applied variables of the project. And those variables are, again, scores on the Kaplan-Q-Bank questions, question trainer test, diagnostic exam, and readiness exam. Logistic regression will provide an assessment of how well the applied variables predict NCLEX success and provide an indication of the relative importance of each variable. The scope of this project is limited to first-time U.S.-educated NCLEX RN test takers who completed the Kaplan NCLEX RN resources between April 2013 and December 2014. The population includes nursing graduates from different types of registered nursing programs, diploma, associate, and baccalaureate. Limitations do include a generalizability of results to students who have utilized the Kaplan resources in a given time frame only. Finally, these are the references that were utilized in this presentation. And thank you for viewing the presentation.